What's up, world? This is Raw with Live Loud, coming at you guys again with another episode of Say It Loud. Again, another reason why I've been loving these interviews is because I've been diving deep and really exploring why people do what they do. As you guys know, I'm a storyteller through photography and film. And when I work with my clients and when I work with people, it's not necessarily just what we're doing, but what's the mission, what's the vision, what's the cause, what's our deep-rooted motivation to lead us there. And the thing that I really love about doing this process is that the more I dive deep into my clients, the more I dive deep inside the people that I'm working with, I get to discover their original story and their inspiration that really led them to be where they are. So today, my guest is Tatiana. Hey, Tatiana, thank you so much for joining on the call today.
Hi.
So
So
Tatiana and I met about 5 years ago. Then since then, we've been able to go and support and stay connected via social media. And I really love what you do because it's such a bold interruption. Like I can't ignore your posts when they show up. So people get a better idea of who you are. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and who you are and what you do?
sure. So I'm a sex and relationship expert and tantra teacher, and I work with people in many different ways. Mostly I work with women to connect to their bodies so that they can have the epic love and sex that they desire. But honestly, like my work is really rooted into really coming deep into your body and really connecting to that power, that source of energy that we all have inside of us, so that we can live in our truth, but also tap into our full potential. And so my work is around sacred sexuality, tantric rituals, and some somatic work, and also like emotional processing, adapted for this modern world. One-on-one body work, to transformational retreats. I've done tantric workshops in New York City, group coaching containers, and then I'm working on doing more trainings and mentorships just to like give all this out to the world. And so part of my mission, what I love like saying out loud is that I really believe that sexually liberated women are going to be the ones to heal the world. I really feel like we need more women to like really tap into their bodies, because they're so disconnected to who they are, disconnected to their femininity and sexuality. But also it's not just a gender thing, but also for men to also connect to the emotionality of their body. And I really feel like right now, during this time, it really is about descending and coming into the body. That's what I really like believe in and feel like that's where we're heading right now in the world.
Yeah, and I really love that you tie that in because it's not so male, female, but this masculine and feminine energy and being able to tap in and dance with both with confidence. One of the things that I love about your posts, that they could be very abrupt. And I think a lot of people associate tantra means sex, and it doesn't necessarily mean just that. I think that's one aspect of it. I mean, you know better than me, but that's a vehicle on how you work with people to really tap inside of themselves and embody their permission to really go and access that. I would imagine for a lot of women, they don't really have permission to go and explore that shamelessly, or for them, for either outside influence or projected judgment to their own inherited judgment that they might have on themselves. So I love how you work with people like that. So how did all this stuff evolve as you've been working? Were you always conscious on wanting to work with people and getting them embodied, or how?
Oh, no. So I was one of those women who was not sexually liberated. So I would say like 13 years ago, I actually was very depressed, lost, and devastated right after my dog died. After he passed away, I don't know, something about his passing just hurt me so much that I kind of went wild. I was in a relationship for 9 years, and we were in a sexless relationship, and there was a wildness that wanted to come out of my body, and I didn't know what that was, and I didn't know how to contain it. I just knew that right after he passed, I knew that this wasn't the life I wanted to be in. This is not what I want. I had been an actress that whole time. And yes, I was acting, I was in film and TV, doing commercials and all that, but I still was not satisfied. I was very happy and fulfilled when I was on stage, when I was in film. But outside of that, I didn't like my reality. And I noticed that there was like no desire, no passion, and I was missing that part of me. Obviously, my relationship was reflecting that. And I'm like, this is not what I want. And so I was really destructive during that time. And then I started changing. I started having like my own like sensual awakening. That's what I call it, because I started changing physically, emotionally, mentally, until he decided to like let me know that he didn't want to be with me. And so even though I didn't want to be with him either, because my intuition kept telling me I needed to leave him, it was just like so heartbreaking, and I was so lost and devastated. I was with this man for 9 years, and it's like I lost my soul. It's like I lost something. So I was already lost with him, but breaking that cord, cutting that cord was like, who the fuck am I? You know, and why am I here? And this confusion. And whenever there's breakdowns, there's always breakthroughs, right? So like, even though I was going through all that, I was experiencing so much magic and miracles at the same time that I feel like shit. And so I started wanting to dive deep into finding myself. Also learning how to love myself, because I didn't know what that was. And so I started diving deep into different spiritual modalities, you know, from bhakti yoga to kundalini to Sufism, Toltec traditions, and just exploring all these different spiritual stuff, doing plant medicine ceremonies. And it was all beautiful for years. But then I knew, even after doing all that, even though, I was high on ecstasy and like life, it was still something that was disconnected. And I'm like, what? Like, I've done all this work on myself and I've traveled the world, but there's something missing from everything. And it was the feminine. It was the mother, the earth, medicine, sexuality, femininity, sensuality, the dark feminine. And I was feeling that, and like I was calling for that. And I'm like, how come in all these other traditions it's all about a father god and masculine? Why do I have to connect? Even growing up as a Catholic child, it was just all about men, and like, why are women suppressed in society? And I was diving deep into that at the same time, really connecting myself to my body in a different way, and really exploring that within myself. So then I got into a relationship. And when I got into that relationship specifically, I knew that I wanted to dive deeper into sacred sexuality and tantra. And then funny enough, I started having issues with my body, because I didn't want to engage in intimacy at one point. Like, my body just shut down. And then I realized, oh, I have a lot of sexual healing to do. I was trying to heal my heart. That took years. That took a long time. And finding myself, that took a long time. But then the next step was healing like my sexuality and my trauma from the past, because I never looked at that. Because I've always been the type of person, I move fast, I move forward. And I was like, oh, wait, I have to heal the trauma. And then I had trauma from the trauma, because I'm like, whoa, I had so much trauma, overwhelmed. How am I going to heal? So it wasn't until like I started doing Kundalini yoga and all these like more feminine practices, which are a little bit more about embodiment and sexual. That's when I met my mentor, the late Sam Isadora, and that's when I decided to go work with her in California. And when I went to work with her and practice all these like tantric practices, I knew like right away. One day we had like a satsang, and right away we were in circle, and I'm like, I want to bring this work to New York City. I really feel like we need it, because at that time, like, there wasn't much sex coaches, like tantra teachers at that time. Now there's like a huge wave. but I was just so passionate about it, and I knew that I needed to bring this work into my world, and I knew then that I needed to empower other women and men, because now I work with men. That's how I took off after that.
Yeah, what's popping into my head right now? I think a lot of people might associate sexuality to an action, something outside of ourselves, right? Or like an engagement and partnership with maybe someone else. But what I'm thinking about with everything that you're sharing, that it starts really a lot from within.
The work that I do is more embodiment, connecting to themselves, than actually doing breath work and actually doing like embodiment practices, sexual practices. So sometimes it is like really like being with your body and touching yourself, and even pleasure. And pleasure does not mean orgasm either, because I think there's a lot of confusion around what is pleasure, what is sex, what is intimacy, and what is sensuality. All those four things, people think right away that it's intercourse, and it's not. It's finding pleasure is finding that joy in the body, because pleasure heals. Pleasure scientifically really is the neurotransmitters in your body, which is the serotonin, dopamine, and oxytocin. And so when you're activating all those three hormones, you're actually healing the body. You're actually like relaxing the body, because humans are constantly in fight and flight, because our cortisol levels are always up and high, even though we don't realize it, because we're constantly busy and we don't know how to relax our nervous system. And so even though I teach about sexuality, it's not about sex, because even if you work with me, I just had a client like 2 weeks ago. She was like, oh, I thought that I was gonna do sexual practices. She's like, this is like way deeper. And I had her like really tapping into her heart and really finding the beliefs and stories. And I was like, you really need to get into the root of like, why are you having these issues in your life? Why are all these things coming up? Because your body, like, it's like your soul wants to leave your body. You don't want to be here because you've been hurt, because of whatever has happened to you. You want to run away, and what happens is that you create sickness in the body. And a lot of people are walking around with all this.
Yeah. Yeah. Can I ask, what do you see is kind of a common thing that people seek healing from? Or maybe not even seeking, maybe they don't even know that it's a sexual healing that they're really looking for. But in doing this work with you and the level of discovery and coming back to the origins and doing that kind of work, what do you see as a common thing that people deal with and carry with them?
Well, the work that I do is really about going back to the root. And the root of all things is what? Family.
Mm.
So even if we were violated as a child, or we need to heal from our family dynamics and our relationship to our mother and father.
Mm.
Because even though, let's say that you were abused at 5 years old and you were sexually abused by someone, unconsciously, your wounded child, the inner child inside of you, blames your mother,
Yeah.
father, for not protecting you. And so you have to work on those, you know what I mean? That unconscious belief that's living inside of your body, that's giving you whatever sickness, or is giving you a pattern that's imprinted in your DNA. And that's why you keep repeating whatever cycle it is that you're repeating in your life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I think there's no coincidence why we do what we do in anything, right?
And also because everything that happened to us from 0 to 7 years old, our emotional bodies was so sensitive. We were receiving information. So even things that are not ours, we carry from whoever took care of us, whatever was in our environment. So it's not just the trauma that something physically happened to us, but it's also the emotional, also the mental. We have to think of the 5 bodies inside this human vessel, of like, what were those things that happened to you from 0 to 7?
For sure, for sure. I think that it's not necessarily just abuse or some traumatic event that really had us pivot, but those even incremental small belief systems that get embedded to us, whether we're conscious or unconscious about it. And it could be something completely irrelevant to the topic of sex, but even that, I would imagine, plays such an imprint on how we make our decisions, how we carry ourselves, or what we think we need to live with, right? Because if someone doesn't know they're traumatized, they're thinking, well, this is just the way life is. This is something that I've always lived with, and this is what we do with.
And they don't realize that the habits and patterns that they have are because of a conditioning that they picked up throughout these years.
Yeah, yeah. So, question for you: with your practice and your mission of what you're creating, what was it about it that you took this healing that you were searching for yourself, and that you were driven to carry it out and share it with people now?
Okay, so I had a lot of trauma, like so much that I couldn't move forward in my life. I realized that I was like a broken record.
Mm,
Every day I'd wake up and it was the same thing, same thing, same thing. Why can't I move forward? Why am I stuck? And at the same time, I was always sick. As an actress, I was always sick with strep throat, tonsillitis, laryngitis. I was always sick with colds and flus. And also, I was very anxious, nervous energy. You can tell because I was like this. You can really tell that my nervous system was just fucked up. So I knew that I was like my own project. So I had to heal first. And I knew that when I did the transformational breathwork that I did, just with that breathwork that I learned from my tantric practices, I was like, holy shit, I see things breaking down because you got to get messy and ugly. This wasn't like, oh, I got a transformational breathwork and I'm happy and joyful. No, it was a lot of like my whole world. So everything gets destroyed in front of you, your external world, because that's what's breaking down inside in your internal world.
Yeah.
So I had to learn how to create boundaries with people. That took a long time because I was very codependent with my family because I didn't know who I was. So I thought that my role was loving others, but not really loving myself. And I was constantly leaking energy, constantly. And even when I was doing these practices and getting all this energy, I was like dumping it and giving so much energy to others. And I was not like in my sovereignty. So I knew that, wow, with my work, I teach people how to tap into that power, like really know about energetics. A lot of people don't know about energy. They think they know about energy, but they don't. They think when they're with someone, oh wait, I don't know, I feel bad vibes. Yeah, that's something, but no, like really learning energetics. And to this day, I still see people that don't know what it is to be a master of energy and being an alchemist. Of like, you can transform energy, you can transform the whole room if you wanted to, and it takes mastery. It really does take mastery. So I say that I'm a sex and relationship expert, but like it's way deeper.
Yeah.
I'm really teaching energy.
Yes. Yes.
Creative energy.
And that's what I think I mean by it, right? Like when people hear the word tantra or you working with them in that necessarily particular manner, is not necessarily just the action of that, but something far deeper and embedded in a process. Yeah. You know, another thing that I really acknowledge.
Like tantra selling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They come to me, they think I'm gonna give them what they want. I give them what they need.
Yes, absolutely. You know, I really share that with you with the coaching work that I've done before in the past, where I just felt through utilizing these tools and through the process of confronting it and having the courage to face it, I started shedding a lot of those things that were attached to me that I didn't think needed to be attached to me. And when that started occurring and I started experiencing, for the lack of a better, the liberation of those things, of those boundaries, then I kind of made it that my mission to go and be able to want to share that with people as well. And one thing that I want to highlight of what you said, that this isn't a journey that occurs overnight. It's not okay, cool, I walk towards the direction of healing. Sometimes the journey to healing means you walk completely into the unknown, not knowing where it is, on your own pilgrimage. And in dedicating and facing that with courage and compassion, you will start to accumulate and embody these tools that can also bring you to that. And I love also that you're saying that I would imagine that this is also an endless journey as deeper levels come up, but at the same time, we can arrive to that place of being that alchemist in that room and being that connection to be able to change the energy and dynamics that we're surrounded by.
Yeah. Even though I did say that this was a long journey, it's not a magic pill, it's not a quick fix. Um, if anyone's watching this and they're in their healing journey, stay focused on the things that you have accomplished. Because sometimes in the healing journey, you can think that you are broken, that you need to be fixed, and then you get into relationships because you think that you're not worthy, and that's not. Just because you're healing, it doesn't mean that you need to settle and like lower your standards. Just keep up with the healing work and just focus on like the good things that you are accomplishing, like how much you have changed, and just take note of that, because that's super important. Because I used to think the same way of like, damn, I'm really fucked up, am I ever gonna heal? But I always think about like, wow, like how I am with my family. I don't get triggered when I'm with my mom. There's just things like I have really good boundaries. I'm not afraid to say no to people. And you see how I am on social media, that I'm so like, I'm a little scandalous, right? That was from the work that I've done of like not caring what people think, not caring about people's opinions. I just don't care. I don't have any ounce in me that cares about what other people think and their opinions and judgments.
Right.
Like there's nothing that other people can do for me to feel shame.
Right. And I want to also make that distinction of not caring what other people might think, because your level of confidence and alignment to your truth and what's really might be speaking to you. Because some people might deflect, well, I'm not going to care what other people think, but that's triggered by my insecurity or my not wanting to be rejected, so I'm going to reject you first before you reject me.
Yeah, I know some people might take it the other way of like, I'm going to post my butt up on Instagram, and then every day you're doing it, and then it's like, okay, you're attention seeking. I don't know if that's 100% confidence.
Exactly. I really love that, Tatiana. So yeah, and for the another reason again why I launched Say It Loud was to deliver a message for the people who are confined within their space in quarantine right now. They're not quite sure what to do with their energy. What would be your message to people and your expertise that people can start practicing right now to embody that level of work within themselves?
I think that right now is a great opportunity because it's a pause, right? Like legit in New York, it's called a pause. And I love that because I think that right now it's an opportunity to really dive deep into yourself. So do the things that you need to do. Like if you need to do like sex magic rituals, do that. Do yoga, do tai chi, qigong, read, write, dance. Just really like come home to yourself. Feel your feelings, whatever comes up. The anger, alchemize it. Use that anger for passion instead of like complaining or posting shit on Facebook and reading conspiracy theories, which is a waste of fucking time. So yeah, just descending to this emotional body that actually this is the divine feminine calling for all of us, because the earth is crying and she wants you to feel it, of like, how are you gonna come out of this? I think that creating like a sacred practice for yourself every morning, non-negotiable, of like really like tapping in, and maybe it's meditating for a few minutes. Breath work is always like really good. There's, you could do all kinds of breath work. There's YouTube. Like I said, there's no excuse. There's so much out there. There's all kinds of like healing breath work, rebirth, conscious breath work. I mean, there's just so much. Just do any of those. Do it every day, and you're gonna see that even those are transformational too. So just having a daily sacred practice for yourself of taking the time to like really feel what's arising for you in the moment. I like telling people to dance, to do hip circles, to move your body and just like connect to your body and your center. yeah, just really ground yourself, because I think that everyone's nervous systems are like this, and we're all, many of us are very sensitive to the collective, and so there's things that are we're all feeling inside the body, so we need to give our body the attention.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
I think you hit the nail on the head with creating your ritual, and it's not necessarily just a to-do list. It's an opportunity for you to tap in or practice something within yourself. And again, it's not something to rush by. Let me sit and let me just get over these 10 minutes, but try to practice these 10 minutes and really step inside of yourself. Like Tatiana is saying, take this time to research, to read, to learn about these different practices, explore, dance, play, and definitely for you people, especially that I know you say you work primarily with women, but male or female, take this opportunity to go and explore yourself of what can you heal from, and what are you enduring that you don't really need to endure from. And I know Tatiana is one person that really provides her services out there to really walk people through that process in a safe space where you could really just embody and be yourself. So how can people find you or follow your work, or if they want to work with you or to see your level of services, where can people find your work?
So you can check me out on Instagram. I know that my name is pretty long.
I'll type it in. You could just say it, but I'll type it in.
It's hard to find, but just, yeah, type in my name on Instagram and on Facebook. You can find me there, and then also my website, TatianaDellepiane.com. Yeah, just find me there. If you need support in any way, yeah, just let me know how I can support you. What is it that you're looking for?
So Tatiana, thank you so much for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So for everyone else tuning in, stay tuned to more episodes of Say It Loud, where we get to learn, hear more about people who are doing extraordinary things out there in the world and just creating magic for the community around them. All right, guys. So sending lots of love. Peace.